about red lines involving Chinese actions in our region, but yesterday your language on the Chinese surveillance ship was noticeably softer than Peter Dutton's. You declined to back his comments, calling it an act of aggression. Is this ship a red line for you? And if it isn't, what is a red line for you? Can you give us an example?
Well, I thought it was very clear yesterday. Of course, freedom of navigation is permitted all around the world. And no one's made any suggestions that any rules were breached in relation to the international law of the sea. The international law of the sea has not been breached. But what yesterday highlighted, particularly when you take it in the context of economic coercion, foreign interference, pushing into our region, an assertive Chinese government seeking to impose its will across the region, this highlights the challenges that we face. This is why I did AUKUS. This is why I, with the other leaders in India, Japan and the United States, drove the Quad arrangement back to where it got it to where it needed to be after the time when the Labor government folded it, frankly, at the behest of the Chinese government. So I think Australians do have an important choice here. They're very aware of the risks, and they know there are no guarantees or certainties in an environment like this, and that is absolutely true. And that's why when it comes to those international issues, a government and a Prime Minister that is very clear-eyed about the threats, not compromised about those threats, and a full ministry that is equally very clear-eyed about what we need to deal with. And we've demonstrated we have the ticker and we have the strength to be able to stand up to those threats. And we have received, I think, the acknowledgement of so many like-minded partners and allies for the strength Australia has shown. Now, that's come from our government, and I am concerned about the signs we're seeing from Labor on this. You've seen Mr Miles still has many things to explain about the level of his contact with the Chinese government. Many things to explain. Things just don't add up there as to why you would be having that much contact. Something's just not right about that.
Prime Minister, you said that your leadership changed gear to be what Australia needed through the pandemic, but Australians are also unhappy about responses to the fires, floods, Women's Safety Integrity Commission. Are you saying that the pandemic crisis coloured your response to those other issues, or can we expect a change in approach to things beyond the economic recovery and opportunity you're talking about?
I've told this story a few times, so forgive me if I tell it again. Jenny refers to it as the Morrison men. My father, my brother and I, we go in, fix things. And sometimes when we go in and fix things, people can get the impression that perhaps we're not as aware of many of the sensitivities that can be around these issues. We see a crisis, we see a problem, we see a need. My brother's a paramedic. He turns up on a scene. He sees a child who is in great danger. He just gets to work. I must admit, I'm a bit the same.